He says Hollywood ignored him for years. We don't understand this. It's fine. Why they didn't understand, he became a billionaire.
Have you ever met Tyler Perry?
No, but he's one of my biggest influence when it comes to business side. Because when I started the music business, I had people like a Jay-Z or Cash Money or Master P or 50 Cent. They have that structure. But when I came into film business, I was like, y'all don't own nothing. Y'all don't own none of your films. But Tyler Perry showed me the industry way to do it. So he's my biggest blueprint of how to structure your business and own your catalog. And so he's a great guy.
So when you first, maybe you saw a Tyler Perry film, how did you start researching him to really dissect how he does things?
I didn't have to research. It was bootleg videos everywhere. Before we had all this, a lot of his plays and movies was bootleg. So it was everywhere. He had plays in New York, so he was just everywhere. So he was like, oh, this is how you do it. This is how you, because he's really the only filmmaker, African-American filmmaker I know that have a large catalog. Like his kids are fine. It's people that own their films, but his catalog of ownership is just like the Medea catalog is just alone just ridiculous. So I've never seen this done before. So it was amazing.
So did you say, I want to do the same types of films, or you had your own spin on?
Yeah, I had my own vision. I didn't want to be one of those filmmakers that does 100 studio films, but don't own nothing. So I'm big on ownership. So you gotta own something. Like it don't make no sense that auto directors do auto films and don't own no IP. Like it don't make no sense. Like I don't even fathom how you could work and do a whole bunch of films and don't own anything. Like I read an article with Sylvester Stallone, and he was talking about how he don't own nothing in the Rocky franchise. He had no ownership. I was like, how did this happen? But back then, he didn't have the right people around him. But he did an article recently. He complained about it, that he doesn't. I mean, he get paid, but he doesn't own no IP of it. I forgot who owns it, but he doesn't own. So in my film, when I heard that LOLA is a franchise, I own the whole franchise. But you gotta, I'm big on ownership. Don't make no sense to me. Like when you watch Jason in space, Jason goes to Manhattan. Like the person that really did Jason do not own this IP that does the movies like that. So I'm big on ownership. You have to own something.
What if someone says, I'm going to give you this amount of money to sell this LOLA franchise, this LOLA idea, this character, and you won't own it. You're going to sign over your rights, but you're going to get X amount of dollars, whatever.
That makes sense. So like LOLA 1, LOLA 2 have ownership in it. But it just have to make sense. It have to make some type of sense. But right now, no, nobody.
So if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it gotta make some sense. Even if I say, hey, here's some ownership, I do another franchise. But it doesn't make sense to do like I be seeing filmmakers make like 100 films. They don't own one movie, like one. So I'm big on IP but most filmmakers don't even think about IP. Like all the big studios got Ninja Turtles IP, Star Wars, Marvel, like that's heavy IP catalog. But most filmmakers don't understand that. But you got to look at legacy. When I'm not here, I want to give my kids something. I don't want to give them, hey, your dad was a great filmmaker, but I'm broke. So I want to pass something down.
Do you have kids?
Not yet. My wife is working on kids now. So
oh, okay. All right.
Excited.
Okay. If your son or daughter wanted to be a filmmaker, would you advise that? You'd say, great. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How much do you know about Tyler Perry and how he got his start?
I know everything. When I look at somebody that I relate to, I really study him. Like his story is, when they make his movie, it's going to be amazing. But yeah, he's one of one. He's like a 1%er. If you go research, someone did it before him, which years ago, I always mess up his name. Asha Moshe. I probably messed up the name, but y'all can research it. Asha Moshe, he's one of the black filmmaker. And back in the day, his films, they didn't want to take it. So he started his own studio, started producing his own films. And so Tyler Perry is like my mirror to go to when it comes to ownership and building your own empire. Like I said, it's okay to give some films away, but own something.
And Tyler Perry was homeless at one time?
He was homeless. I was homeless too. Yep. Yeah.
So how much does that factor in? Because you know how in the film industry, it seems like a lot of people come from, more of a middle class helped background, and I know I get some flack for saying that. And people can be mad if they want, but that does set a foundation that does help you. Whether it's just parents know somebody and they can get you a job somewhere. How much does that help you relate to that person? When you see that they came from humble beginnings, or I don't even know what his family situation was like. I don't know why he ended up homeless. But
well, he had the same family I had, broken family. He got molested. When I was younger, I went through some of that. But yeah, you come from, some people, when you come from that trauma, it's two things going to happen. You're going to die in trauma, or you're going to turn your pain into purpose. He turns pain into purpose. He helped a lot of people. So he's one of the people that I look up to and influence in my life.
And so he initially started doing plays.
He was doing plays
about the church, or
about the church.
Okay.
And what he taught me is know your audience. He had a huge audience, like a very huge, and he just knew his market. And when I'm looking at certain things, he's like one of him, 50 Cent, a few other people, but him and 50, the two people that I really look up to.
In terms of what Tyler Perry's been able to build, what's the top inspiration for you?
He did it. He did it with no help. I mean, he had help, but he didn't come from those beginnings of family. Hey, I know this person in that studio. I can give you a job. He literally got it out the mud. He started with nothing, and he built this amazing empire that helped a lot of people. So that's what I look at. Because at the end of the day, it's easy to be, I did all this stuff. Who helped you? Like I have a friend that he brags about, but his father works for a big studio. So you take his dad away, we don't know how the story going to end because he don't have that drive. So that's why it's people like Tyler Perry, the 50 Cents in the world, and everybody, they come from beginnings I can relate to.
Well, I mean, and in fairness to people who do come from, more of a moneyed background, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault, yeah.
And they can't help it, but it's also what they do with the opportunities that they're given, because I've seen both. Some people take it and they run with it, and that's great. And then others, it seems like they don't. And I think that's the frustrating part for people that don't come from that, because they're like, you're wasting this, and it makes you angry, not just jealous, but it's just like, that's wasted.
Yeah, when I look at it, I tell people all the times, you come from nothing, you come from a lot of money. At the end of the day, it's all about execution. I know people that would have a lot of money and they ain't doing anything. So it really comes down to you. So don't let your beginning, don't let your family and friends that have money, if you really want it, you're going to do it. Don't matter where you come from. So I know friends that I'd be looking at them like, what? Like, you have all of this. Like, what? But I realized at the end of the day, that's in your DNA. The hustle, the hustle's so separate. You have everything you want. The hustle's so separate. And that hustle is going to get you to the next level. Like, look at 50 Cent, for example. 50 Cent, people don't know if Curtis, 50 Cent Jackson, his beginnings, everybody know he got shot, blackball, all that stuff. What he was able to do at Starz Network, no one could never do this. He took a network that no one cared about. Like, I had Starz, I didn't know what Starz was. I was like, why am I paying for this? No one knew about this thing. He took this network and turned it into his own Marvel. I never seen a drama series break off in different series like it's Marvel. Like, what he did was just incredible. So once again, it's producers that have been in the industry for years. They can't do what he do. It's in his DNA. The hustle's so separate.
What is the hustle?
Passion, any means necessary, execution, doing what you have to do to get where you want to go, and get out your comfort zone, and don't settle for less.
But then going back to that party where people were enjoying themselves and in ways that sometimes people think it's just one weekend and they'll be fine, they can walk away from it. And then if you've ever been on the other side of that, you see that one weekend is going to turn into months and years.
Like me, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I barely go to parties, because I'm at a point in my life right now that I don't have time to have a whole weekend partying. I could be doing something else. It's okay to dibble and dab, but don't have to party for your whole life.
So any means necessary does not mean enjoying and joining in for one weekend when it could catch you.
Yeah, any means necessary is if you have a film project, like for me, for example, right? Any means necessary. LOLA, when I could have get investments, I did overtime at my job. I don't like my job, but I did what I had to do. I worked at my regular job. I did what I had to do. I didn't wait. I just did what I needed to do, and I saved up my money, went in my 401k, and invested in my movie.
Oh wow, okay.
So any means necessary. We have too many options now. It's no more gatekeepers. You don't, all those people on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram that's making their way and making money and paying for their families, no more gatekeepers. No one can tell you no. The only gatekeeper is the person in the mirror.
And that was for Lola 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
All my projects, majority of my projects. Lola 2 was my new movie. Is the first film that I had a producer really pay for everything. But yeah, most of my films I funded.
What are the things that you've learned from reading and watching Tyler Perry as an artist and a business person?
That anything is possible.
But that you have taken on like specific things, not just anything is possible.
Owning your content, trusting your vision, loving yourself first. Don't listen to the industry, because Tyler Perry, he just now getting his flowers. The Hollywood, he says it, Hollywood ignored him for years. We don't understand this. It's fine. Why they didn't understand, he became a billionaire. So it's noise. You look at, Hollywood wasn't made for African Americans. It just wasn't. So a lot of times, like the Emmys just passed. Everybody complaining. Oh, the Emmys, it wasn't made for you. It's like being in a relationship. If your other person keep cheating on you and disrespecting you, don't go home. Leave. So we have to realize that though all those industries, all those structures wasn't made for us. So if they're not made for you, make your own. Go somewhere else. It's no one gate you could go to. It's so many other options. That's nothing you taught me. Options. When the big networks that you're trying to pitch a film or pitch a project, they say no, it's okay. Because when they say no, it's not really no, it's no right now. Because they can't see the vision.
So when we know that something is not right for us, like an industry, and there's hashtags that say whatever, Oscar so white or whatever, and so we know that, but then at some point though, they go, oh yeah, I like that. And you see like, okay, now they need us, or now they need our picture. What do you say to that? Okay, I'll play this time?
This is up to you, it's up to the individual. We play this time, write a bigger check, it's all up to you. But at the end of the day, eventually they come around. You can't, like Tyler Perry makes so much noise, now they coming around. So it's part of it. So
what's that one saying? Oh, be so whatever that they can't ignore you.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what he did. He now they can't, now he's working with Netflix. So eventually they either gonna come now or they come later, but they're gonna come. So if you build it, they come.
Okay, but then don't expect, do it your way, and then when they're ready, then they'll show up.
Yeah,
whether
don't
it's
wait,
music.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Don't wait. Like don't be there knocking on the door and wasting 100 years knocking on the door and say, please, I wanted to sit at the table. When you build your own table, the food tastes better. So build your own table. Like back in the day, I get it. Back in the day it was hard. Now you make moves on your iPhones. You can just do so many options now that you don't need it.